already brought us back to the Chaussee map. So last after you had destroyed the western bombard from the dragon, and then came back home to destroy the eastern dragon, and forced them to flee. You cleaned up their mess. You were able to retrieve some of the uh, remains. You were able to preserve one of the spell circles. Um, Remind me, did you want to destroy that one before the redshift covers it up, or were you going to leave it?
That was the plan, yeah.
Okay, so you pretty much just copy it down to study the runes.
Yeah, Elvis said he had taken a copy of it.
Okay. Plenty of time to do that.
Probably also if there are any like gem powders or materials.
Yeah, as far as you could tell, they were simply carved.
Gotcha.
In this case. So you were able to copy down the circle structure. And you retrieved the bones. Albus, if you or anybody else brought them to Smithy, I think you were talking about doing that.
Yeah.
He would tell you that it's possible to actually melt the obsidian and the gold off the bones in a forge, in a crucible. And then that should allow you to separate those two materials.
Is there anything useful from those obsidian skeletons that could be used to rebuild or fix Keen?
Oh, we can fix Keen.
Keen will be fine. Yeah, Alvis is able to run some repairs on her, undent some plates and
okay.
Get a few new screws from the ones that broke, pretty much.
I do thank you for building that or bringing that up, though, because Alvis would be interested in reverse engineering or doing something similar. He was inspired by the gilded skeletons to see if he could rework some of this gold into some runed magical or some sort gilding onto Keen.
I see. Well,
especially if it's protective.
You do have the one skeleton that you captured. I'll actually drop that into so that we don't.
Yeah, one kind of leads right into the other. That's why I thank Naya for bringing that up naturally for me.
So fortunately, the skeleton seems pretty harmless now that you've got it tied up. It can't really move, and it doesn't seem to have any power beyond just trying to struggle out. It does struggle somewhat consistently, as it seems to be possessed with a proclivity toward malice.
Well, I think it's also interesting that it's self-animating, even though its boss or whatever is gone.
That's
kind of interesting.
Whatever magic animated this is a long-term device. That's a good thing to ask Albus Tavern. Do you want to keep it in a box somewhere?
I didn't even ask. I said it is going to get scribed.
Yeah.
We should put it in a box or something far away from main stuff. SCRYED. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So Van will remind you that at this point the Dragon Prince knows who all of you are, seemingly pretty well. You didn't let him take any of your hair, did you?
Right. I was gonna say he can probably just scry on any one of us, given
Especially now.
Right.
He's actually met us now.
Well, right. Did you shake hands?
No.
I did
Yeah.
give him the name.
Well, it's a lot easier if he has a body part. So as long as he doesn't have that, our odds are a little bit better. But we should probably assume he's looking at us anytime.
Well,
Be careful. There's not a whole lot we can do about it at this point.
no.
Well, we have to keep Nimbus busy with his shell.
Likewise, keep tight-lipped.
Yeah.
I wish Professor was here. See how it works more readily. Ben, what do you think?
What was the second part of that sentence?
What does Van think about the skeleton?
He says, well, he actually looks at it with his big eye, and it does suppress the magic while it's inside the cone, but it doesn't disenchant it. Which he says, okay, well that's about what I expected. It's not an active spell. This thing is alive at this point, in a sense, sort of, like a zombie.
Makes sense.
So, if it ever breaks out, I can stop it in its tracks. No problem. Not that we're gonna let it break out, but
What about the fancy smanchy gilding?
Yeah, the runes. I'm not familiar with all of them, but I recognize a few letters here and there. If I had to guess, I definitely like Dex to have a close look at this thing.
Exactly why I wish Professor was here.
But it reads to me that it seems like every limb has its own animation sequence. And then you see this one on the back of the head here. That one looks like a different algorithm. But I'm not sure exactly what it's meant to do.
That's a lot of work.
If I had to guess, this might be how he controls them, or maybe a directive algorithm.
That is a lot of work when you think about doing that for an entire field of battle.
Yeah, I agree. Holding all that in your head.
I bet somebody's pissed.
The manual work. The manual work of scribing those runes on all those bones.
You got that right. This would probably take months or years.
Which means that they had a lot planned coming in order to get us.
So you can inscribe magic onto things via runes?
Sure. I mean, I would know that being a dwarf. Sure.
Well, long as you've got the right materials, the right avatar, for lack of a better term, and the right wizardry know-how. He probably had to dump a lot of his own power into one of these things just to get it walking. It'll be easier if you're in a place of power, like, say, a cursed volcano. If I, maybe.
Right.
Those sort of things usually work out like that.
I suppose we do have one of those, though. The
I
Naiad.
suppose we do. And a dryad. I still think old Orvis is probably a little bit cursed too.
See, I was slightly inspired. I was gonna bling out Keen some of the gold that we found. So I don't think I have the necessary wizarding know-how. Nimbus, you make scrolls. What do you know of this kind of wondrous item creation?
You know,
Nimbus
there's
Nimbus can roll Arcana, and I can help form that situation too.
definitely a lot going, but hey, a wizardly.
Alvastaver's a manager. He knows when to ask other people, but he'll roll too.
Nimbus, you have little experience with constructs directly. You know that there are nice, Albus. I don't know. Are you proficient in Arcana, Albus Faber?
No,
Okay.
I'm just.
So in that case, I don't know if you would have. I think that 19 would probably get you the same thing as Nimbus's 11 in that context. But so Nimbus, not having too much interaction with directly with constructs, you know that there are as many algorithms to bring a construct to life as there are wizards. Obviously, Keen is a very different sort of construct from the skeleton, and they both work. So what you do know is that if you can develop the correct algorithm to do what you want, usually um, a evil wizard such as this might spend much of their career working on this sort of project. Trial and error plus hijacking or stealing stuff from other wizards to speed it up.
Well, let me ask this: how much necromancy kind of interpret from different sequence? Because I
You
get
can do that with a detect magic, even.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
guess you know, I would ritual.
Would help. Yeah.
The intent is trying to figure out, like, there's basically 4 components trying to do. What part's undead, what part's construct, magic. What element of all of this provides the strikes on gold tips, and then what part creates the I would assume the obsidian shelled magic reduction. That's the same, take 0 damage. So it's those 4 components that I'm trying to discern. And at this point, I would even be like getting decks on the line, like writing down and showing him different relative parts where the grammars.
Okay, well, let me tell you what you're able to detect first, and then we can call up decks properly.
Okay.
Essentially, what you're looking at is mainly, I believe, conjuration is the correct school for constructs, unless it's transmutation, but I think it's conjuration. Most of the it's sort of what Van said. You don't recognize most of the runes precisely, but you can kind of get an idea of what they're doing based on their aura. Because you can see these strings of different auras wrapping around this skeletal frame, and most of what you can see is the conjuration which you could deduce is the stuff that makes it stand and walk around. It's the necromancy is something you really don't get a specific indication of. There's kind of a whiff of necromancy if
Is it
conjuration is blue and necromancy is red, then you've got a very, very slight indigo here on a lot of these auras, right? Not completely purple though.
I guess trying to use thicker and thinner densities of the ruined obsidian bone beam. I would be trying to discern if the necromancy on the bone itself and then obsidian.
It seems to you that there's like they're sort of intrinsically mixed together a bit here.
Okay.
You also there's definitely a there are some runes that are just straight up evocation runes and abjuration runes scattered on. Like this is a complex. Now that you're looking at it with with the means to detect magical auras, like this is a complex body of magic that has been constructed here. It is not there's got to be like 8+ spells all working on this skeleton all at once that have been established and made long term by these runes.
Said it was a lot of work. That's one skeleton. Now do it for 100 or 1,000.
Yeah, right. Each one of these is as you were saying, a complex magical artifact.
Yeah, obviously there's something to be said for mass production, but
that's what I'm thinking of is, it takes roughly a year for magical crafter +1 weapon armor.
Is there a skeleton factory in the bowels of that volcano?
I have to imagine some amount the magic is being kind of held in the runes that have been prepared ahead of time. I would imagine the factory of skilled magical labor and prepare all bodies
that does seem like that is maybe an example you've heard before of like some wizard like prepared item and just spending like a week just blasting it with spells until they all take.
Yeah, that pretty much be it.
So riddle me this, Nimbus. Do you know at least the what did you call it? The formula for like spells that you know? Is that how you like make your scrolls and stuff?
Correct.
So
I probably have enough of a cursory understanding of their magic power to freshen up some various crafting. Little bit of this. That would not be something.
You'd mainly need
academy for that.
You'd mainly need the resources to find those like missing stone pieces that you'd have. Like you'd have the if you wanted to make like a fire sword, right? Just out of runes. You might have the runes that like summon fire, and you might have the runes that say protect my hand from the hot thing. But you need the specific. There's always like a specific one that you're gonna have to go find. That's like connect all this together and hammer it in, more or less.
And
Rough
that-
example.
And that's the difficult part, is the binding, the one that connects the multiple things together. So it's not so much like Nimbus could transfer his knowledge to do something like mage armor, and then we could tinker on some runes onto Keen and then cast via my ability to cast spells or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Like a spell scroll of any kind is when you make that, you essentially put down the algorithm as you cast it as a person, as a humanoid being, and then put the spell slot into the paper or whatever you're using, and then burn it later. For something that can be activated and reactivated and is like stable, you need those like foundational elements, which will, again, it'll depend on the style of the wizard in question, and it'll depend on the object you're trying to enchant. There are a lot of numbers that add up to the number 100, right?
Yeah, no, makes a lot of sense.
So I was gonna say that Dex would probably call you. This is the day after you had your feast, and things have been cleaned up around the base, and the Redshift is encroaching ever so steadily. Dex would probably call you around noontime that day if you didn't get to him first. And you might find him, perhaps we'll say, just as you're in the midst of investigating the skeleton closely and getting it stashed away into a safe place as well.
Find a closet. Close the door.
Yeah.
Let them scry all they want.
Maybe put a lock on it just in case.
Uh-huh.
Whoever wants to be around or arrive once anybody notifies that Dex is calling, to first check in and make sure the plan went well. The brigadier will be explaining to him the events that happened, and you may find him on the line. He's sat at his obelisk in All Saints. You can see the lake behind him. And you can see the twisted red hooked tree also just in the background.
Can you see the plant growth that we set up to happen? Should be pretty overgrown at this point.
Yeah. The like reeds and weeds and stuff have started to sprout already. And you can see a naiad kind of hung around the man's shoulder, trying to get a close look into the obelisk window. Not quite shoving her face through it, but almost there. His coat is visibly wet from this situation, but he is visibly attempting to pay it no mind. and you might catch him as he's telling the brigadier, yes, so All Saints is safe and secure. We didn't have any incursions here, no dragons, thankfully. It seems like they all went to your side, fortunately. Um,
Good news.
we have not heard from Prince Vashta at all, which is also good. Double check the teleport circle; it is out of commission. So we're going to have to walk back and forth now, but that should be a little bit easier. Eska has bonded quite well with the obelisk. I think this might be our best work yet. We'll have plenty of city space here, a little bit more than the space around Chose, I think. And I don't know if you can see it from your seat, but the lake, her lake has almost it's almost completely restored already.
Wow, that's awesome.
We had a little bit of rain over here. I think that really helped.
Rain.
Yeah, I
Nice.
think it came out from the east.
That's good to know.
Rain is a very good sign.
Now that she's not a ever since he took down the glass wall, there has been pretty regular amount of rain, like a standard amount of rain, in the All Saints region, which is why the sandy desert has started becoming more muddy, and it won't be too long now before it's probably that sand skiff of yours is probably going to be almost unusable pretty soon.
Oh, guess close. Just right.
Yeah, which is good because you'll be able to use horses at that point.
Put it inside the museum.
Yeah, he used it for a year of
Definitely put it in the museum.
physically unreasonable sand travel. Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I did barge in. Decus! Nimbus and I just wanted to talk to you. And I heard some good news while you were talking to Lysette.
And Arsa was telling me about your proxy plot, I think. But yes, Elvis. What's up?
Well, we have captured one of the constructs that was used to siege us.
Do you have it with you, or are you showing him copies of?
I'd be showing him copies of the runes that we have right now. But of course, I wouldn't bring it with me. I was just intrigued with whomever Lucent was talking to, or I was also in the area looking to talk to Decus because of the thing that Nimbus and I were working on.
Yeah. So you'll describe him the skeleton constructs and show him the runes. What he can tell you is that not your shots weren't too far off on what you were able to deduce out of this thing. He says these are very unusual combinations. I recognize most of those symbols, and whatever wizard made this is doing a strange combination of conjuration and necromancy. It's like he's making a golem but out of bone, which I suppose is
That's
what you
exactly right.
described. There's all sorts of it looks like there's all sorts of interconnecting conditionals and a few abjuring symbols so that they don't break easily, which is pretty smart.
Didn't exactly work though. They were kind of one-hit wonders.
Well, except when you think about it, it's still alive. It is still trying to escape.
Oh,
So
we
it
didn't
is
hurt this one.
animated. It is animated beyond the immediate control of its maker. It is animated now in our custody.
I do suppose it was resistant to holy damage too.
Seems like he went for magical fortification and action over durability. That's a fairly reasonable trade-off, I suppose, if you have, what did you say, 100 of them?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So I shoot
And a
him.
giant dragon.
Sorry, I shouldn't be impressed. He tried to kill you, but...
No.
I think it's good to not underestimate our enemies.
Exactly.
How long with one or multiple experience spellcrafters spellcast know about how long it was taken to get rid of them?
I can't imagine anyone but the most legendary of wizards would be able to make an army that size in under a year. And that's assuming they worked on it nonstop, really, and had somebody providing all the supplies for them.
Professor, please tell me that you're going to say, but we can absolutely reverse engineer this technology for our means.
Well, you have it, so I could replicate it. I don't much approve of necromancy, and I mean, if it doesn't look like he's there's anything soul capturing involved here, so it's really just kind of macabre using bones as the base.
Yeah.
It's more the abjuration and vocation sort of thing. Gold tips do Storgoth magic.
Quite. So there are the practical things, but also I had a dumb idea too that might involve if we could get the proxy army from that other city, to work with us, and we could somehow use this technology. We wouldn't have to be so macabre as to use bones. We could. We could maybe even give our friend a semblance of body again.
I see. Well, you did meet her brain, we'll call it, didn't you? So
Saw it.
Albus, actually, you weren't there, but everybody but Al who was it who stayed back? It was Albus and Ambergreen. Didn't they join? But they told you. So he says the theory is pretty different, but you might be able to get away with implementing something similar, at least for the animated parts. From what you're showing me, it would I'd have to work on it probably for a while to divorce the necromancy from it. Unless I suppose we had some bones lying around. And then you'd have to devise some kind of proper soul capturing algorithm into it.
Hey, I'm sorry to tangent out of character question. didn't you say the Talon, like the Talon has ultimately been corrupted, but the Talon that animated Keen's new body, didn't that have necromancy about it?
It did, but you tampered with it, and now it doesn't.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
This might only tertiarily come up, though, not in the sense for runic magic, but it could be an aspect of this particular dragon. We've been assuming, based on color, of course, that it's a red dragon, and, like, what can we say? It lives in a fucking volcano. But it does seem that there is a proclivity for necromancy in some of the dragon's artifacts.
And at least one of his princes, his son.
I've noticed that. Do you
They're
think
all lich.
the spike belongs to them as well?
Oh, I'm assuming it belongs to their dad. I think the body part, it's a literal relic. I think if I were to have told them, or if they were to figure out what Keen is, that perhaps they would be highly upset. I have committed a heresy, perhaps.
Well, maybe don't tell them then. We'll have to find that out. But yes, right. It could be a dragon's claw, and if that's the case, if dragon parts tend to be very receptive to magic, so it could have been steeped in some spells for a very long time and turned into what we saw, that corrosive, polluting thing.
They were bits together that came together, yeah. You know this, you know that.
I suppose it could be simply that it was shifted, too. It might not have been something intentional.
Did Lucent tell you that the Dragon Prince had the ability to command the Redshift?
I was getting to that one.
Yeah, that's probably the spookiest thing.
Literally
They did.
a sword that I had to run away from and used it as a magical weapon. I know of the spell. I have never been able to master it. Yes.
What do you mean mastered the redshift? What did he do? You fought him while the redshift was inactive, didn't you? Didn't you?
We did, but he cast a spell that basically created Redshift on the spot.
I heard him say, "Redshift, bend to my will." And he gave the constipated mage face, and a sword of the Redshift appeared as a gash throughout reality and chased Keen, Jabberlax, and I.
Makes a constipated. I didn't even see his face when he was casting any of the spells. Oh, that's terrible.
He did scrunch up his face.
Yeah, it just means he's trying hard.
What?
I want a new.
I mean, I make anybody sound bad. I'm.
Well, don't suck.
X says, I don't like that information.
I didn't
Don't
think
worry,
you would.
you don't give a constipated mage face.
I didn't like it either. It scared the
Yeah.
crap out of me.
Yes,
I've never spellcast in a mirror before.
I've looked at you. You do like raised eyebrow thinking face, like you're reciting something that you tried very hard to memorize precisely, sort of like a music contender.
Sounds proper. Okay. Anyway, no, hang on. This half dragon has. Did he have spell focus? We have. Well, Lauren, you have used powerfully shifted artifacts to barely and at great personal risk
I
control the redshift.
I rub my arm and nod. Look over to Montlaurent as he says that.
Yeah, I would also just like to remind you all that our kobold friends here say that he apparently can just summon stuff into being.
Right.
Like those spell circles out there, I suspect.
Well, the entire area. It just
Right.
appeared.
Here. I wonder if his power only works in the redshift zone, or if he's found a way to harness it
See, that's
I have
arbitrarily.
I wanted to ask. Did you ever think in your research of the redshift that perhaps a stamp, a mark, or a residue was left from the shifted area? Not just the affected objects, but
the space itself.
the space itself. Just having been affected by the redshift. The
It's
zone-
like radioactivity, right?
It's
yes.
I have a
it's
theory.
certainly I tend to think so. There's if you have the sense for it, the every part of the world has its own sort of natural innate sort of background magic, whatever energies flow through that part of the world sort of color the way it exists, and the redshift zone is certainly different from other places I've been in my life. It's not a stretch to assume that that's probably from the redshift staining the world for so long.
I mean, just look at Badass and Keen.
Maybe he uses that somehow.
I have a theory based on what Alvis described, actually, that I wanted to run by you, Decus.
Okay.
I think that, and I actually don't know if it's true or not, but I have a suspicion that the redshift isn't a phenomenon, but rather that the space itself is constantly altered, and there is something like a phase shift between two states, the way that like ice can turn to water. And what we see as the redshift is the boundary between those two states as it constantly oscillates back and forth within the bound space of the redshift.
That's not a bad hypothesis.
It would explain how he could command the redshift while it wasn't even happening, because in essence, it would mean that it was always happening, right?
He found out how to do the same thing, but controlled.
The other possibility is that he was able to identify the redshift sort of material light ever. I'm just able to basically copy it, replicate for limited times with great effort. I've captured the general property, what make a crude copy.
Gods, I would love to sit down and talk to him.
Right.
No. This is something that I hate to say it, but I think if you are able to, if you get the opportunity, you need to put this man down. Whatever he's found out, whatever he's controlling, I don't. I I want to know it, but I'm starting to think maybe nobody should. Maybe that's something that we should not pursue an understanding of. At least not more than we need to. Um,
the
fix
other
it.
hand, the potentially break through. Now, that said, I don't know if we actually need live for them. I get the feeling we got copious lab.
He must surely.
Once
God's a half dragon, half elf. He must be. Well, he could be very, very.
He is the eldest brother.
Didn't Prince Vashta tell you that he had been lurking these parts for centuries at this point?
Yeah,
Indeed.
He's had longer than I have to study this place. Might he might know something that could be used for our ultimate mission.
Out of all of them, if we were to capture that one alive, I believe it's the one that would cause us the most trouble.
Well,
Would
that
not
says
be about any
absolutely. I
He wouldn't
wouldn't.
give me an honorable duel.
I mean, if
Completely unfazed by my tiny tarts joke.
yes, well, capturing a wizard who can speak things into existence on a whim, let alone controls the Redshift, is I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure Van would be able to think of a prison that would properly hold somebody like that.
I can think of one.
Oh yeah.
Death.
Well, hopefully.
That usually works.
If you
Permanent banishment.
if you get the chance to get him to talk, let him talk as long as he wants to. But I agree with Dex. We might need to figure out how we can extract information from him. But
Can't beholders read minds, or is that a Lithitz?
sorry, wrong aberration.
I'm sorry. No, I feel like I've just committed some kind of social faux pas.
Only a small one. It's okay.
maybe that's the sort of thing Bard.
Bard can extract information from people?
Oi.
Can our
Good
Bard
point.
do that?
Form of seduction, yes.
Weren't they just saying recently that they had figured out a melody that could bend minds?
Where is our Bard?
Right. I'm like, wait a minute. Did I hear this?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
What do I know of this?
I don't know. Do you have any spells that do? I don't know your spell list.
Can you read minds? Can you get the Dragon Prince
Can
to
you
give information?
suggest that others tell you things, perhaps even against their will? Can you seduce them into talking?
I mean, yes, there are ways I can do that.
Okay, so at level 10, he's got ways he can do that.
Maybe even early. Oh god damn it! I was trying to open my character sheet and I detached the chat,
I've done that before.
and I was distracted. I was trying to order food. Sorry.
I mean, you've got Chaos, but that takes 1 minute to cast.
Well, and that seems like
I've got that as well, by the way.
Right, that's sort of brute force, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's tell me, or else you take 5d10.
But they could throw a saving throw on that, and you've just blown a level 5 spell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. I think I have, for example, like I think I have charm. That's hold. I thought I had charm. I have command.
Command is a 1 round. 1 round, 1 word per command.
Well, and then yeah, exactly. Talk. No, if they don't, they can resist, right? Calm emotions. That's not exactly right.
My favorite command.
Zone of truth.
Yeah,
zone of truth. If I can create, that's a 15-foot radius sphere.
You can tie him down.
An affected creature is aware of the spell and can avoid answering questions.
Oh.
Yeah, they could just say no.
No, what we do is a combination. I put down a wall of force, you put down a zone of truth. And so he's locked in a wall of force that he can't escape and can't cast his way out of. But the zone of truth will penetrate into it.
Clairvoyance lets me see or hear where I'm not.
Get that monologue and behind closed doors.
Exactly.
I like to say all of my plans out loud.
Well, it's just that he talks out loud while he writes in his diary. He narrates it.
Right.
Not from the PHP.
That's how you.
So really, what we need to do now is learn scrying and get all the materials to be able to scry to see what this guy does.
I got speak with dead.
Ooh, stories bones tell.
Can you use that on an animated body? Like, can we use speak with dead on the on our captured skeleton?
Interesting question.
I would say, let's see.
It's a
corpse of your choice within range is what it says.
It's a bone.
The corpse can't be undead.
Well then.
Looks like the closest thing I have is Gaius, yeah.
I have dominate person. Hold on.
I'd love to see you grab a dominate.
Oh, also, there's one that makes it even worse. The corpse can't learn new information, doesn't comprehend anything that has happened since it died, and can't speculate about future events. Yeah, dominate is the one you'd want, isn't it?
I think so. I think that's the one that I have.
Dominate person. Yes. Tell me all of your magic lore.
And I have scrying also.
I would love to see you dominate a dragon prince.
I mean, I have planar binding.
I have planar binding as well, but I don't know if that would really work.
Oh, no. What you would do is bind a fiend or something into your service, then go, hey, find this out for me.
Yeah.
And let them use whatever they want to do.
That's also the one that takes a day to cast, doesn't it?
Oh, it probably
we've already been there.
You're raising it, yeah.
I mean, it took us the day to do plant growth. So.
You know what? It's not like I don't even believe. Yeah, planar binding doesn't even summon the thing. You can only bind them.
All right, so we use the Stygian ritual to summon Salmus, and then you can bind him.
I would have to cast Magic Circle, summon the thing into the Magic Circle, and then planar bind it. And then be like, okay, see this guy here? Smell it. Okay, get him.
It also only lasts 24 hours unless you're a higher level.
Yeah, true enough.
And that dragon prince probably could turn it into being his buddy.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that to Salmez anyway.
Well, he did say that he owed us a favor, right?
I remember that.
Huh.
Didn't he say that? Or am I imagining things?
No, I seem to remember that.
I might be mistaken, but it sounds like my friends are discussing summoning a devil within earshot of me. Again.
Again.
Lucent, I know
Listen, we love you.
I know you work for the Holy Cradian Empire, but if we went through this, how poorly would you think upon me?
Let me tell you that this has nothing to do with my cultural upbringing. I keep an open mind about these sort of things, but
Especially if we win.
generally, in my experience, good people don't summon devils to ask them for favors and recruit them to do.
Really kind of shitty favors.
Would I have to be a good person to be seen favorably by you?
Do you want to be a bad person?
I could be a neutral, lawful person.
It doesn't really, like, there's not really like a score that balances out, like, if you kick a puppy, you don't balance it out with like donating to the poor. Right?
I would. So, having been raised sort of separated from your from the normal cultural upbringing, but still inside of it. So, having seen it and learned from it, I would have to disagree, Lucent, as much as I would like to just simp out. What is redemption if not an attempt at a felicity of calculus towards ethics? What if you kick the puppy out of the way of the oncoming trolley?
She says this is ridiculous.
This is
Just whatever you end up doing, just know I don't approve of devil summoning, and I'll leave it at that.
What would you think about me poorly was the question. I don't care about if you disapprove of it or not.
Personally, I just don't know how much help he'll be. We haven't seen him since he got sent back. For all we know, spikes have just gotten longer, and they just went on laughing at him. Unless we're gonna put a big ol' healing setup on again. I really don't know if Salmus would even be able.
To answer your question, I think it would be a foolish thing to do. You know, they say that every deal you make with the devil is supposed to take a little bit of your soul away. Supposedly.
Well, damn.
I mean, I don't know what they do with it down in hell, but they want it for something.
Yeah, no, good point. There's one opportunity when Naya actually agreed with, maybe summoning a devil. And now I think Alvis is
That is a bit startling. Yes.
Well,
Alvis
what I was looking at was
because of Lucent.
was claiming the favor in order to talk to Salmus. Like, is this something that you can even do? Is this, I mean, I don't even know if that's reasonable. I don't even know if you can do this. I don't even know that it would work. But if we summon him, then maybe we could ask him, because he seemed like a guy we could just like talk to, although to be fair, he was restrained at the time.
He's a devil, so he's lawful by nature.
Right. But I don't know that we're necessarily we would be asking him to do anything against his nature. But he seemed like a chatty sort of fella for being a demon.
No, I was actually agreeing with you. Not a demon, a devil. What I was saying though is that he follows rules. He makes
right. He is lawful, but just in his own rule set.
Well,
but I don't even know if doing something like this to try to get information. I mean, the whole idea of trying to get that information by any means of domination from a dragon prince is abhorrent to me.
I'm trying to remember.
I find that the whole thing abhorrent. But
what is the actual spell that summons demon? Because it's not summon fiend from Tasha's, because that's just a fiendish spirit. Oh, right. Summon lesser demons or summon greater demons. Yes, that one.
No, but I also have the note
with
the Stygian ritual on it.
Wasn't that just a ritual regarding that cult and not specifically the one that summoned him?
Well, I thought they summoned him with that ritual. That's what I remember him saying. And then he was affected by the redshift, and then his horn started growing there. But I mean,
it's been a minute. Let me double check my notes. Because I'm having a hard time remembering either way, but I think you are probably right. I'm also looking for where the hell the normal spell to do this is. Conjure elementals are in there.
Exactly. You'd have to be very careful about what you asked him. Mullet has a very good point. But I mean, he did help him out, so it's more likely that he would give us just enough information to damn us and perhaps use his help again.
Right. To need a deal someday.
Exactly. The only reason why I've been open to even use him once is because you might be able to gain the, oh, look, a piece of candy moment if you don't ask for anything too big.
Well, if we're holding off on not using the Salamis favor, if I'm remembering correctly, then we should save it for the tower rather than this kind of thing.
That is a good idea, too.
I mean, that's what I'm saving the Fey Horn for. Because we only got one shot. So if we have Salamis and he actually does owe us a favor, we are going to have to check on that. Then we could redeem that favor at the tower, fighting whatever the hell that thing is.
Fight for us. Oh, God.
Well, give us 5 minutes, or something, But as Mont said, if it suddenly balances the scales back to where suddenly we're enemies or something, then no, don't do it.
Salamis was not a greater demon. Salamis was a lesser demon.
Devil.
No offense against Salamis, but he was just a horn demon.
Right. Yeah,
so let me correct you about that ritual. It was specifically it was a ritual related to the cult, and it was key in opening their vault, but it was not the same as the one that summoned him. Now that I'm looking at it,
I'm gonna say you had to go back 3 years to dig that up, didn't you?
I did. That's what I thought it was, but I had to double check. Now that I'm looking at it, though, I can't find a fucking spell in the entire 5th edition for summoning a devil. I don't know if I'm not looking in the right spot.
Well, if he gave us a favor, would he give
Summon Fiend? Summon Fiend.
Summon Fiend is one of those ones that just summons
is a
little
6th
spirit
level.
buddy.
Because I was most keen at the time to talk to him, and if he actually did say that he would owe us a favor, would he perhaps give me a means to call upon him?
That's a long time ago, and that did not happen at that time.
No, yeah, that's all why I was asking.
Yeah. Yeah, so Nimbus, the spell you're talking about, I might have to make that.
I think it's
the way to
Infernal
do it.
Calling.
Infernal Calling? Okay, cool.
Yeah, level
What level is
5.
that?
Level 5.
5.
I believe
yeah,
it's the
oh,
one
there
where
it
you
is.
summon a devil, and it's like, all right, I'm a devil on this plane. I'm gonna fuck some shit up. Hey, you're
Yeah,
the closest thing
the
I
devil
see.
is
I'm gonna fuck
unfriendly.
you up.
The devil is unfriendly toward you and your companions. Yeah, so
Okay, well, we don't want to do that. That's not helpful.
but that is the spell that you have to use to summon a devil. Thank you for finding it. I knew it was somewhere in the book. I couldn't remember.
Could you summon a specific one if you knew its name? Or is that
I
just
believe
random?
you choose the devil's type. Devil disappears. If you possess an individual devil's talisman, you can summon that devil if it is of the appropriate challenge rating +1 and it obeys all your commands with no charisma checks required. I would say if you knew the devil and you didn't have its talisman, you'd still be able to choose to summon it, and it just wouldn't have that special obedience.
Gotcha.
So yeah, if you wanted a specific one, you could invoke the name with that. But yeah, so traditionally the way to make this work is, I believe, you put up what is it? Big circle.
No, I actually like the other way that you were saying. Do the Infernal Calling only takes 1 minute, so you time that at the end of casting. So you do the Infernal Calling, and dude pops up, and then planar bind.
I believe the creature must be in range for the entire casting of the spell on planar binding. It specifically says, typically the creature is first summoned into the center of an inverted magic circle in order to keep it trapped while this spell is cast. So that's the trick.
You're
you
right.
do the magic circle, you do the summon, you do the planar binding. The only trick is that magic circle lasts
1 hour.
1 hour, and planar binding takes 1 hour. So there's 6 seconds, or there's 60 seconds in there, where ideally you'd have somebody else cast.
You can just upcast it.
Go! Ask.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you could upcast it indeed.
Oh yeah.
I guess I can't. It's the highest level thing I can cast.
Magic Circle's only 3rd level, so you could upcast.
Oh, I thought you meant the.
All right, so you
planar binding. I thought
guys
you meant planar.
Do have everything you need for that, except Nimbus would have to go learn.
I don't think it's worth it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I don't think
there's risk on top of risk on top of risk.
That's a ton of magic. So what are we trying to find out?
For a lot of maybe, and it's not worth it.
What are the questions we would ask, for example? Like, do we have those lined up?
Oh, dude, if he owes us a favor, I'm asking him to go do the thing we were talking about so that I don't risk my ass in a dragon slayer.
That's not a question, though. That's a command.
Well, yeah, if you do planar binding, you can command them.
For as long as
he owes us a favor, why command him? Just ask him to do it.
Right. Exactly. You don't need the binding at all at that point. You just trade in.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
That seems way more sane. The Montlarin plan, where you just call in the favor. Hey, don't you owe us this?
Right, but did you see what Mont posted? the downside, or the possible downside of that, is he goes and he does, we've got a 2-part request. And he there's nothing that says, one, he's got to come back and tell us what he found out, or two, even, we could then be enemies. I mean, literally.
Instead, we say, tell us
Exactly why we don't bind him.
shit.
Anyway, this is a fun tangent, but it is completely dependent on Nimbus picking up the Infernal Calling spell, which I don't think he has right now.
I don't think it's worth it.
I have Dominate Person also, which is another one I didn't.
Yeah, that's also a good one that would allow you to force somebody to talk to you. What were you going to say, Nimbus?
Oh, that it wouldn't be something I could really get access to next level, and I'd be potentially skipping. Oh,
I don't think Dex knows that spell. Let me double check. Pretty sure he doesn't have Infernal Calling on the spellbook. Nope. He does know Planar Binding. He's used it before, but he doesn't summon devils.
I mean, like, why? Why would he?
Right. Anyway, where were we before that whole conversation happened?
We're filling Dex in on the fact that the Elf Lord was able to actually command the Redshift.
Yeah.
No, that terrified him.
I don't know if it terrified Dex, but it terrified me.
He's terrifying is the right word. At the very least, it sounds like he was using it as you said obviously he used it as a sort of projectile weapon.
Sort of like a magical sword that he used to travel about 50 or so feet away from him.
That at least tells me that he doesn't have the ability to say, putting it bluntly, kill you on the spot, which is good.
Quite.
I
like that.
Perhaps it's easier to afflict the world than to afflict a creature. Yes, Mont. I don't think if I imagine if he was able to shift one of you at will, he would have simply done it. So
I wouldn't want to touch him though.
What?
I said I wouldn't want to touch him though.
That's a good point. Well, yes. In my opinion, I think taking him down is probably the best plan we've got. Plan of action, rather. If I can find his library, I would very much like to read it.
I entirely agree, but I think we all need a training montage, some kind of upgrade to our arsenal.
Do Heart Elves have a domain that is kind of like their domain?
Traditionally, you'd put a Heart Elf in the business of touching people's hearts, I suppose. Being things like counselors and the kind of magic that helps people live happy lives. It doesn't sound like he's terribly interested in doing that for anybody but himself or his family.
Well,
in this case,
I was looking at was that his father found, obviously, a female heart elf, whose name I can't think of right now, is the progeny of that. What I wondered, what? Daymare, thank you.
the logical conclusion.
Yeah, so what I'm looking at is more, is there a place where heart elves, like there's moon elves and the kind of elf that Mallarn is, and dwarves live in these kinds of places, And it's kind of like, well, do heart elves also have a domain where they are found, or are they dispersed around the world just like
Well, yes,
Dragonborn are and
you'll find hard
halflings and
elves.
stuff?
You'll find hard elves just about everywhere, but they
Okay.
do have an enclave, a a little ways north of the Empire, called Welgaia Stronghold, and the king and queen there have long been holed up in their glass city. Uh, but not unfriendly,
Glass
but
City.
uh, yeah, you should go there sometime when this is all done. Take a trip.
I
It's
will.
very
I will.
they welcome visitors.
It sounds
sort of. It's a
beautiful.
little you'll probably get stared at a lot, but
It's fine.
uh,
Naya would get stared at everywhere in the Holy Cradian Empire, honestly, because
yeah,
she's not an Asamar.
depends on how far south you go. I think. Uh, Anyway, it's just the one city there in the forest, but it's very impressive. And anyway,
I'm just kind of
possible
I'm
that his
wondering if
mother
we
could
could
be from
get.
there.
That's what I was thinking. What if we took a different angle, a possibly more diplomatic angle for getting under Damar's dragon skin, as it were, and
I'd have
finding
to find
his
out who she
mom?
was if she's alive. I don't
Right.
know how old
Find
he
out
is.
where his mom is, and maybe from there we'd have some idea where Damar's lair is, because we don't know that one.
But
Meanwhile, he's scrying on us, and he's like, he's gonna bring my fucking mom into it, and then he just flies into here, kills us all.
teleports behind you.
Don't take it personal, kid.
Dex says, although, like I said, there's no guarantee at all that his mother was from Welgaia. Even if she was, I mean, we can't exactly go there and ask every elf in the city if they've ever met a dragon. That would take a very long time, I think.
Right, but I'm just wondering if we might have more success going kind of a diplomatic angle that way. Maybe we could even get scholars from the academy to help with the search. I know that they have their own kinds of networks, and there are spy agencies everywhere.
The brigadier says, "Do we even know if these princes have mothers? Like ones who are alive and well?"
Well, usually it takes.
Bosch does seem to imply that his mother was alive.
Yes,
That's true.
because he was going to visit her.
If he was telling the truth.
Right.
Sure.
You know, honestly, I think.
But all of the children are different, which suggests that, Daddy-O had a good time with all kinds of different beings.
Well, it seems to me dragon lords are like that, right? Like, have you heard the story of the two dragons that mated for life, and it was just a romance the whole time?
I think the best means of diplomacy for a dragon is something called Legendary Lance of Dragon Slaying.
Okay, well, I think anyway, that's my suggestion. Since we're not going to go the direction of demon.
Hey, well, if you somehow find out his mother's name, we can definitely go try to track her down. And I mean, if she's out there somewhere, maybe we could bring her out here and talk some sense into all of them.
I was about to say, Lucent, you're down. You're not down with summoning demons, but you're down with going after somebody's mother if they are a political enemy.
I mean, I'd find it all right to go talk to her if we somehow found her out. You know,
Talk.
let her know that her son is a menace.
Talk
Maybe
to
she-
them in a secret room after you bag and tag her inside of a.
Right? Is she another red? They're reds, though. These are reds.
And she's
but
gonna
if
be an elf.
she's
Oh,
an elf.
Right.
She's a hard elf, and he's probably a human changing dragon, red dragon.
Right. Yeah. Clear. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I had forgotten that there was
She
the half.
says,
So that's why I'm looking at, but this could be like hundreds of years ago, so who knows?
right.
Wild
It's
Oats days.
just as Dex says, we don't have any idea if she'd still be alive at this point. Man could be 500 years old for all we know. His mom would be long gone.
Decus, I'm honestly more worried about preparations of quality defenses. They came after us with some interesting siege weapons. Not only would I like to maybe reverse engineer those, but I think all of us could do with a little like good think on how we could equip ourselves better so that we can actually fight and defend ourselves.
Dex says,
I just don't think Ballista are going to cover it.
no, you're right.
Well, isn't ballista the typical defense against flying dragons?
Breeder says, flying dragons, yes. A army with bombards of their own. Well, apparently he was smart enough to stay just out of our range, so they weren't much use here. They're very good at single targets and slow moving, but not so much if they have comparable or better range. Usually you avoid that situation because an enemy has to actually bring wooden objects to build and hurl rocks at your city. But we're dealing with something incredibly different here.
Do you think the Empire can spare some parts for a trebuchet?
I think we can arrange for something like that, yes.
How is a trebuchet? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, distance, specifically for protecting from an army scenario, just like what happened before.
Yeah,
Better than a catapult.
good idea. Yeah.
Though a catapult might be more useful against a flying target, we have the ballista. If we can keep a ballista in front / behind our trebuchet's range, we could, in theory, nullify their bombardment, make them or force them to get into the range of the ballista.
Yeah, we might have to demolish one or two of these buildings to fit that, but certainly be worth it at this point. Work never ends. I wish we had a proper wall out here. We could use the outer wall properly, but it's in the Redshift. Say All Saints doesn't have a wall, does it?
I don't think it does.
Absolutely.
The best we could do is, I was actually thinking of building a ditch using waterworks as our means of digging.
Well, and for that matter, perhaps adding a moat to the city.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by digging a ditch. You see me.
So if we can solve this dragon problem before we move to All Saints, I think we might not have to worry readily. Obviously, we'll still want to be prepared for anything going to throw at us, but
it sounds, especially where their base is, it sounds a bit unreasonable. But I think we should make All Saints a bastion.
Man says, Clutter's over. Like I was saying last night, we got through that whole fight and didn't take any casualties, except that tree over there.
Keen. But yeah.
She's fine. Look at her. She's walking around.
Did you die? Wow, tough crowd.
Sorry. He says, but you all blasted the hell out of what did you say, Dex? That probably took him decades to build this army?
I wouldn't count on it. I believe I need a lot more work before we can go up against him. Maybe one or two more.
Well, I'm not saying walk right up to a dragon, but I'm saying I think you've dealt a decisive blow to this wizard.
I couldn't touch him.
Well,
Bailed, we'd still be over there fighting them.
traditionally, I find
Yeah,
with wizards.
well, I mean, I'd find a way to take him down.
A piece of advice is that most of the time with wizards, you only have to touch them once.
At least I could touch Vashta. I was given some false ego. I thought I couldn't even touch him.
You don't feel bad. You made the right decision. You made the correct tactical decision running away from that redshift. I wouldn't want to have to kill you if you turned into a redshift monster.
Interesting. Redshift Alvis. I wouldn't want to have to kill me either.
No, don't think about it too hard. We don't know what'll happen.
But you would, right? I mean, if you had to, like, you couldn't. Don't leave us like that.
Of course, I'd kill any of you if you turned into a redshift monster.
Oh, thank God.
I mean, good to know.
I know you'd all do the same for me.
Sure,
Absolutely.
Right. I wouldn't run screaming at all.
I'd probably
Considering that was sarcasm, I'll take it as flattery.
I'd probably just jump in the mouth, to be honest.
Please don't.
No, I mean if he turned into a redshift monster. I'd probably just jump inside of his mouth and be done with it.
But what I was getting at was we also have these guests, our kobolds.
What about him?
Well, that one over there with the shiny horns knows the teleport sequence, doesn't he?
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah, that's how we sneak into the volcano.
I know that they've got some kind of obelisk.
Right, that's the thing we take or destroy once we sneak into the volcano.
Yeah, you know.
And
Okay. Never mind.
whatever skeleton army was defending that volcano is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he had 200 more. But
Well, okay. This is how I think of dragons, right? Right. This is just not everybody else. Dragons, cloud giants, other things, right? Right. So you underestimate everybody, right? We civilized people here, right? Elvis Tever gestures to all of us. We're ants, right? To these guys, we're insects, we're bugs, annoyances, and so if let's say you're a wizard who works on this kinds of things and you have an army, right? You don't bring out your whole force. You bring out like a tenth of your force, some kobolds and some like basic siege tactics, right? And you're like, my younger brothers sucked ass. Look, watch, I'm gonna do this and crush these fucking bugs with my, with my basic ass shit. And then, Maybe we weren't ants. We were a really bad, termite infection, and so
That would be an
Fire
incredible
ants.
tactical blunder, but I can't deny that you could be correct about his arrogance.
I mean, they knew about you. They knew that they
Yeah.
brought. They said that they brought the beholder. They knew about you. So, I'm assuming arrogance.
They were ready to kill me.
They're well known for their arrogance.
To
So,
try.
and the last thing we heard was Dad is going to be so pissed as they spirited away.
That is true.
The brigadier says, "Lauren, you already freed them. Those kobolds.
Oh, there's going to
No,
be
no,
tons
they-
more at the lair.
There are-
Hold on.
yes. Oh,
Yeah, they talked about their family that they left behind, who are actually significantly more oppressed than even these fellows were.
I misunderstood you. Yes, of course. I was thinking a bit last night about how we might arrange for some situation for them. They want to leave the Redshift zone. We destroyed their obelisk, I suppose. Yes, you'll have to come up with some plan to get them home.
Well,
Well, we can't just
if
leave.
this is their
No, we
home,
can't.
then what?
That does put a wrench in, doesn't it?
It does. I mean,
Without
we've liberated them. So great. Now you guys can all be out there with your family in the fucking Redshift. Great.
No, they can.
Thank
can
you
come live in
so
Alsanes.
much. Well, that's the thing is we need to make sure that they're not just free to go die in the Redshift, but free to
No, they-
actually live.
They can come live in Alsanes. We promised that we would repopulate the city, right?
It would mean
Yes.
you wouldn't be able to make a quick escape. It's the,
Well, if we,
caveat.
as Montlaran just suggested, if we say All Saints is the city for the kobolds,
My,
but we
They
would
could-
need a lot more
In the short term,
obelisks.
honestly, we have the capability to house them between our various outposts at the moment, right?
most likely, I think
Yes.
I think we could support them for a short time.
If we
As
free
long
them,
as they're-
right? That's a fair. If there are thousands of them there, then it's an entirely different problem. But assuming that the numbers are manageable, my thought was this: we free them, we tell them to make for Jose and Alsanes. We use their escape as the distraction to get to the obelisk artifact. I've got to look around for the B team, and Sharp and everybody, and say it would be up to you to keep them safe if we did that.
Sharp's been hanging out pretty close by during this conversation, and he says, I was wondering where we were going to come in. You're putting a lot of stock on the disloyalty of kobolds, my friend. We don't have any idea. Well, our new friends don't seem terribly loyal, that is, but they do seem scared.
And I think they're having at least
And
a
they're the
bit of an
ones-
easier time here than with their former overlords. But now they're worried about their families that are left.
Maybe you'll have to bring that Kimmick fellow with you. So
I
that's
was
his brother.
assuming, yeah.
He seems like a paladin type. He might be able to convince his families to follow him.
I mean, realistically, we're the only hope they have. If we really do succeed in our objective, if we take down that obelisk, it's us or nothing, right? Or flee into the Great Forest. That's not better.
No, not. Hmm. You want me and Miss Mortier and the others to act as bait for you while a dragon chases us down the hillside and way to All Saints.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sounds about right.
Sounds exciting enough.
Well, we don't want you to be
Corralling
board
army
sharp, you know.
of- Say, what about their I think I remember one of them saying too they have salamanders still living there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
We take them all as well. They almost killed Kuro back then.
Oh, we're tougher now. I don't know if they would accept
I mean, do we
surrender from
convince
us,
them
considering
friendly?
their skin all over.
Right. I think we only take the people who are willing, first of all. The point is to give them the choice, not to decide for them.
Right.
Hmm.
But if we're going to remove their redshift protection, it's a choiceless choice.
I sadly do agree with that.
You're right
So
about that.
that's almost as much coercion as if we had them in chains. So I really do want to keep thinking about alternatives.
I legitimately don't see any, but I absolutely understand the impulse. I
The sense
don't
of
think that those skeletons were made in months or years. I think that we are underestimating the magical ability of our foe.
I
And
agree
so I
with
don't
that.
think
I
we
think they're
have
the
a
conjured.
very long window within which to act.
I agree with that also.
says if he can tell the redshift too, then I suppose he could shift up something, anything he wants. Maybe.
Once again,
If he works anything like a normal living being otherwise, then he's probably that fight of yours probably tuckered him out a fair bit. So I'd have to assume he won't be able to craft too much in the intervening.
At the same time, though, he was the one that grabbed his brother and hauled his ass out of there.
Yes,
So he had
So-
enough strength for that.
did. Still, if he's done what you described yesterday and has enough juice to keep kicking, he's that's something beyond mankind. In terms of capability and aptitude. Like you said, I don't want to underestimate him though.
No, let them be the ones that may have that make the mistakes of arrogance. They've already made a couple, so let them keep doing that.
The sense says, okay, so you jump into this circle, Dragon's Lair. You start a riot. Hope that baits him out. And you break the thing and then get the hell out of there, right?
That's the plan. I'm actually hoping that one of us can figure out a teleport trick so we can just go back to the home on the hill over there, instead of trying to actually run, you know?
Well, Nimbus knows how to do that.
yeah, takes a minute. Yes.
Right.
That way the five of us can just be in and out and gone, you know?
Oh, Shep says I love long hikes through the desert.
I hear it's nice and muddy now, so, totally different experience.
I was just looking to try out my new boots.
If we pull it off, we'd save a lot of lives. Not to mention our own.
Well, we might be able to hide in the hills from a dragon. What about his kids? Those yours?
I'm assuming that they're smart enough that they're going to end up being our problem. But honestly, it's a toss of the dice, right?
Those kobolds turn on us. I guess we'd have to get out quick, wouldn't
Yeah, that's the wild card right there. But
Have
hopefully
to
our new
find some
friends can deal
scheme
with that.
to make ourselves look like we're some of the kobolds and say, hey, there's some tough folks coming. We should probably just arms down. Their thing.
I wonder, do they have like a garden or something inside of the volcano
Brigadier says,
to like feed
that's
people?
that's a good question. Loadvane, please. Can you go catch that one Kimmick?
Sure enough. Sure.
Okay.
I mean, if we need to create a distraction, we could find a. It's a long shot, of course. It's a fucking volcano, but if we found a spot of good vegetation, we could release Seymour.
Huh.
Oh, that's interesting.
Maybe feed him up a bit before. Oh wow! Why don't we feed him up a bit, teleport him to the circle, wait a bit, and then teleport in?
Yeah, that could be the most complicated way to kill yourself that the Redshift has heard of.
Well, if I can wild shape into something, why see more up if I could drop it into a garden?
Yeah, right.
So Amber Green, you're able to fetch the muscular kobold from his friends, and he'll follow you when you tell him that you want to talk to him. So you plop him in front of the conversation center, and he says, more information.
Hell yeah! You want more food?
We're trying to figure out how to save your family, actually.
Exactly.
There is a bit. Okay.
I give him a bit of my ration bar. Go on.
He says, all right. How? What are you going to do?
Well, we're thinking that we're going to send the dragon and his children packing by removing their protection from the Redshift. But we don't want your family to come to harm in the process, and so we were hoping that if we went in and liberated them, you could perhaps go with our friends and lead them out to safety, either here or to another city like this that we know of nearby in the desert.
To again, pray my king, surely devour me.
Well, our thought is really more that he'll probably try to devour us, so he'll probably have plenty of time to get away.
And even if you did it again, if it wasn't a fluke, if you defeated the lords again and you defeated the king finally, where where would we go?
That's
you-
that's a good
have-
question.
Have you found your time here disagreeable?
You are strange work. I don't really
It's because you're not our slaves. You're not our prisoners. You're our guests. We freed you from the people that would oppress you.
Yeah,
We would do the
potential
same.
partners in business.
We would do the same for your kin. Our
You
hope
have
is that someday you would come to work together with us, not out of any fear or us forcing you to do so, but because you saw that it was best for all of us.
exactly
even
the paladin speaks truth.
do you not answer to some king? The horrible eyeballed. Is he not your king?
Oh, not at all.
What
Fan's our
about
friend.
And-
and what about her?
Well, she's a stalwart fighter and the one who's bureaucratically organizing things to make sure, everybody gets fed and everybody gets supplied and protection and all that sort of. Just because somebody is a mayor doesn't mean everybody. Just the person who runs the city. I'm not even part of the Cradian Empire. I come from somewhere else. The people who run and organize this commission, I don't bow to or salute them. Never have.
Neither do I.
Alvis loves to bow and salute to Lisette.
She says, yeah, I wanted to be a princess when I was 5, but that wore off pretty quick.
I'd love to see that.
Alvis perks up and is all like, "Didn't you say not to call you Excellency?"
I said that wore off pretty quick. I have a queen, empress, but she's nice, and I work for her because I want to.
Except most of them are unknown and talk to my boss, Vim, and then Vim tells me to do stuff like this. And I'm pretty free going. I have a lot of I have a lot of free will under my current contract.
The concept of free will may just be quite alien,
And
so we need to keep that in mind.
listen to this, Gimmick, and
Yeah.
you can tell your opinion. If you want somebody to listen to while you are figuring things out with your Dragon King, you want somebody else to listen to. You see that Redshift way out there. We're gonna fix that. We could always use a little bit more help. And I know if you've lived out here your whole life, seen what that can do. She offers friends, family, companion, lords, other followers. He says, the Redshift. Stop it. Fix it.
Only lasted 1,000 years, plus others. Hasn't always been.
Which means it could be undone. Naturally.
Hopefully.
Logic dictates as such.
I honestly get the idea that the Redshift was an attempt of some sort to, for lack of a better word, create a sense of stasis or protection from some change, some dramatic change, maybe even related to the dragons. Who knows? But I mean, this ties back to everything you guys, have experienced, or even I've experienced with the echoes of the past.
I'm also gonna micro retcon this conversation to be happening in dusk or evening, since kobolds are a bit nocturnal.
I was waiting till the end of the conversation to interject anyway, so that makes sense.
Thing that the conversation went on for a while too, because it went from fucking like construct lore and runes and talking to Decus about certain things to how the Redshift works to how we're going to deal with this current problem, how we're going to counter.
Yeah, it's been a pretty free-ranging conversation.
It really has. Well, I'm listening in on all of it and thinking to myself, well, I have a kind of different but kind of synchronous perception of this. I'm just going to wait till you all talk it out, and then I'll offer my advice. By which time the conversation had ranged far away from that point. But now that we're back again, my perception has even reflected in the things we've seen has been that I feel like it's a magical. I feel like the Redshift itself is a magical tide that is attempting in some way to either retain a sense of a particular time and place or to replace it, one or the other. But I kind of lean towards the former rather than the latter, but I don't know why.
Nick says, words. We trained to fight these monsters out here in the ruins like this. Under Lord Arturus, we conquered many areas in snow, and we brought back many treasures. And the work never ends, always in a monster. And sometimes when our companions so be pleased Lord Arthur, he ordered me to not allow them back home.
Yes, we've seen that directly. And Alvis Taver takes out a small piece of blue salamander glass. Yeah,
Sometimes as well, when we came back, there was a monster that we had to kill.
that's sick.
Yes, it makes seen it before my eyes one time, and a bird. I had to kill the bird afterward. I've seen the results. Creatures and my old companion as well. And
I
defeat
lost
the
my brother that way.
lords.
Indeed, I was there.
Sit down.
In a way, yeah.
Right.
I would put my hand over my heart and nod towards Montlarin at this point because, like, I was there, man. That was rough. I was there for every hard part of that.
Yep.
Totally.
You can defeat the lords. Lord Arturus says that even he and others stop storm Redshift. They and Lord Dame because he cannot truly prevent monsters from being created. I remember someone asked while we were waiting, and after Lord Arturus gave us our next command, while we were preparing to go out to his snowy territory, someone asked him, why doesn't the king destroy all these monsters? Why do they always come back? And he told us that nobody can stop it, not even the king.
Have you ever seen them try?
Oh,
They just accept it as natural.
Oh no, we've already been told they want it. They use it. The lords use this as the thing they can hide in
Okay,
and maintain their control over the.
right. But okay, so but they don't know where it comes from, and they don't care because they ride it.
Twice we've already undone the work of the Redshift. If they've never tried, how could they know if it could be done? We found out it could by trying.
or maybe you have some power that they do not have. Forced them to flee. I have never seen them flee from anything before, except for their father.
Well, I don't want to paint the picture that we are stronger than dragons or possess powers beyond that of mere mortals. Really, everything we've gained by working together. We're no different from you, really.
We have. I have defeat monsters. Stand.
Even beyond that, I've known kobolds that were just as strong fighter and toe Goliath and to anything dwarf ending your potential only starting to be realized. Want to leave.
How much
So-
stronger could we all be if we all worked together?
Um, He says, there are there are 10 children, laborers of my kind, kept in lower level. There are perhaps 2 10s total of the imp and the salamander. 10 of the forgers who work for Lord Eth.
Given the opportunity, do you think that most of them would go with you?
I could trick my kind. I could tell them we were going somewhere we need to be. Save this difficult conversation for after we were already there. The imps, perhaps. Salamanders would be harder. Forgers, well, they don't talk very much. But you're saying they'd all turn into monsters if they stayed. If your plot worked, they'd all turn into monsters after you were done.
Well, there's no guarantee
The
that they'd
Redshift
all
game.
turn into monsters. Some of them might melt into a pile of goo or turn crystal that glass that's breakable.
Aye.
There's a lot
Some
of things that can
die.
happen.
Terrible, excruciating deaths.
We're kind of hoping to avoid all that if they would come to safety with you.
No, it's odd sort of thought, but I wonder if the coolness and dampness cool the tempers. Perhaps not want to fight when they get there. Couldn't imagine was comfortable. Some of the imp.
Yeah, it's also possible that if they're not from here, can't Amber Green send them to where they're from?
One at a time with a 4th level spell slot, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. The logistics are a little shitty. Still, I mean, we could send them somewhere more comfortable, is all I was thinking.
Give it enough time, it'll happen.
Do we know if the Southern Bay has have we found any like traversable paths for ships to come in?
The Brigadier says we've mostly been relying on the Maracas route, since the timing is a little tight between redshifts getting all the way up the coastline into the bay. If it was an emergency, I think we could probably swing something. But what did you have in mind?
Oh, it would be potentially easier to evacuate the whole lot of them by ship from that. Then again, they might not all want to go over a boat. It could be that the northwest route that leads back to Fire is the safer route to send them.
Keep Keep Harpum is pretty small, but we could probably arrange the logistics to get them out of there through Harpum and then boat back. That might work. But yes, doing it overland might work as well.
Just
it-
we got to
Dex
make
said-
sure that it doesn't, feel like some sort of death march. That they realize, one
Right, of
one
course.
week of travel between the bases to finally get to safety.
Dex mentions if we're talking about elementals, I've studied methods to get extraplanar entities back home in a more feasible high volume manner. The thing is, it would take several days of work and spellcasting to make it happen, and a little bit of ritual, but it might be more effective than you simply trying to banish them one at a time. If we have a lot of them and they want to go home, like those salamanders, I might be able to make that happen with a little bit of help.
Yeah, if you can teach me the specifics on that, I would definitely be able to help out with that one. I think that's the one that we should kind of consider. Is some might want to stay, some might want to go. If the kobolds understand that they're going to have good living, they're going to be treated well as refugees area. Be put in some like dark hole or arid,
Brigadier
unarable
says-
land or anything. They'll be given plenty of opportunity. I would imagine
Brigadier
they might
says
want
if-
to.
She says if we could get rid of the dragon, his children, we could always take back the volcano afterward, give it back to them. I mean, if
That's kind of what I was looking at, but then we'd have to build an obelisk.
that's a relative. I think that's the easiest part of the deal at this point, isn't it?
Well, it depends. If the timing of the end of the battle and we're successful ends with having time.
Oh,
to,
I don't mean bring it there now. I mean in weeks or a few months from now.
Right. So, but what we're looking at though is in the meantime getting them from the lair to someplace safe with an obelisk, and then having them go back if that's
We
what they
just have
want.
to make sure none of those dragons come back.
Right.
If we were able to confirm that the Dragon King was destroyed by the Redshift, or
I don't know if
well, that's the plan, isn't it? Either he gets destroyed or he flies away, right?
I suppose so. Unless he's able to reestablish the thing, destroy it.
Francis, if a dragon finds out that his obelisk has been destroyed, I don't think that's going to be the last we're going to hear of him. He's going to be very, very angry with us.
I wonder if there's a way we could subtly destroy it. Very, very like subtle light. So when the redshift comes on, it really comes on. Excuse me.
You're
We
suggesting
can make him
magical termites.
Yeah, trap.
think it's secure. That's
Seymour.
a brilliant plan. What do you mean, Naya?
If I could figure out a way, we can get enough information. Plunk. If I can carry Seymour up and drop it down into a garden, Seymour could basically destroy that place in a matter of 2 weeks, all by itself.
I wonder actually if
Turn Seymour into like a bomb. What
Kind of.
say, Nimbus?
I wonder if with her powers of invisibility and being able to go straight beeline there and back, if Mazia would actually do the delivery, get Seymour.
Exactly. And we might not even necessarily need a garden. We could perhaps.
Well, we need earth, don't we? Moist earth.
We need plant life. And so what I was going to say is we could perhaps commission a thing of exponential growth, like a compact sort of nutrient for Seymour with maybe the children's or grandmother's help.
From Montlaren's shoulder, Mizia says, turn a bastard dragon into a pile of crystal. I think I could be down for that.
So we have the delivery method, but to make Seymour like a time bomb, a means to delayed explosion.
I'm gonna go grab some water real quick.
I really do
Sure.
think
You
that
know, let's
it's a
take like a
possibility
couple of
that
minutes
could
right
work.
now. It's probably a good time for like a little. Back in a second.
Let's all
Me
go
too.
to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
And it picks up my footsteps of all things when I have voice recognition turned on. So what did I miss? Any other ideas?
Oh, we're all taking a break.
Oh, okay. Did people get up?
Yes, I was going to get up just for a second to get water, but just only a second. There's only like
All right, no problem.
there's less than 200. But to modify Naya's plan, like we don't even need a garden. Like if we could somehow create Seymour as a small mine or time bomb on the obelisk, causing catastrophic failure, like likened to like maybe a boat in the middle of the sea.
Well, I'll tell you, you won't be able to make him grow beyond the material he is given. Like it will literally be 1-to-1 in terms of plant material to size of shambling mountain. So
Okay.
if you want a treant-sized shambling mound, then you're gonna need a treant amount of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somehow transport that. So, definitely factor that into the strategy here.
No, see, that might not be the best method. I'm actually thinking sort of like a. Have you ever heard of moss graffiti?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I have.
So I'm thinking actually something more akin to moss graffitiing their obelisk, and then placing Seymour in a compressed state or something like that with magic near or on it. Maybe even through some magical means or process, creating Seymour into a paste that would grow onto the obelisk, it causing catastrophic failure. I don't know if you could paste a shambling mound.
And have it still be alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's too bad I can't like delay cast plant growth. You know what I mean? Like, because it'd be great if you just like tuck them into a joint in the artifact and then like set the spell to go off in 6 days. You know what I mean? Like
That's what I do with Pathfinder.
Glyph of
there is-
Warding could delay cast plant growth, but it takes an hour to set up. Right.
Right. But we do know somebody who knows Glyph of Warding.
So if you found a way to,
Damn it, I didn't get my water.
Do you have somebody who knows Glyph of Warding and plant growth, though?
Yeah, I think it's Omboa has Glyph of Warding, and I have Plant Growth, and Naya does too. But I don't think any of us.
Let
have
me look
both.
and see if I have Glyph of Warding. I don't think so.
You know, I'd consider allowing a situation where like a spell scroll could be stored into a spell glyph. That seems.
I was going to say, in a worst case, couldn't I make a scroll and then give it to Nimbus to learn? I guess not, because I'm not a wizard, right?
You have proficiency in Arcana.
No.
That is required.
So not me. Maybe Naya?
Naya, do you have proficiency in Arcana?
I need one more level, and then I can put it in my rogue.
Nope.
Then I can finally get more proficiencies and things.
My proficiencies are in wisdom, not int.
Likewise.
There
yeah.
is the trick. Okay, yeah, that's
Minor
the
charisma, but yeah.
limiting factor on the scrolls here. I have the same problem in my other game. Our cleric doesn't have Arcana, so we can't get resurrection scrolls.
Oh,
We gotta make sure to keep him alive.
Doesn't look
Total.
like I have Glyph of anything, actually.
Yeah, it's a cleric and wizard spell for your party.
I also don't have Arcana.
Do you have
Well,
Glyph? You have Glyph of Warding, though, right?
The trick was we were trying to see if you could get plant growth somehow, but
I have an idea.
So,
I do have Glyph of Warding, yes.
yeah.
all right. So the question is, do we scroll Glyph of Warding or do we scroll plant growth?
I don't think we can do plant growth at all. Neither you nor I can make that scroll, and we're the only two that have it, I think.
Shit, could you scroll Glyph of Warding? Hold on, that might be the more raw way to do it.
Yeah, or I sets up the bomb, is what you're saying?
What?
Hold on. I gotta double check my spell scroll.
I said forbidden choose your own adventure.
Yeah. Hang on. Okay. Scribing a spell scroll. Okay.
Page 35 to explode.
See in Arcana. Must have the spell prepared. It would take 1 week to make a Glyph of Warding spell scroll. Are there any other requirements? But wait. You wouldn't be able to cast it if it's not on your spell list. What am I thinking?
Right.
It wouldn't work at all.
Yeah.
That's the final trick.
I couldn't work with Nimbus to create a scroll of plant growth.
Well, actually, hang on.
Because I'm pretty sure I did this before, like 3 years ago, with Nimbus.
Technically, you're not supposed to be able to make a scroll unless you personally have an Arcana proficiency.
Yeah, I was gonna say we did do that. You're not wrong, Naya, but I think we were not actually following the rules. We just didn't know it.
Oh shit! Okay. I remember it was like I had a spell that Nimbus thought was useful, and so Nimbus and I worked together to make my spell be on a scroll, so he could learn it or sell it.
Wizard can't cast plant growth anyway, so only Bard, Druid, Ranger, and Ancient Paladin, and Nature Cleric, I guess, can do plant growth. If he was a Nature Cleric, then this would be a non-issue.
Right.
So now if we have to do it, it's got to be, like a classic like summer blockbuster movie thing where we have to go in and set the bomb ourselves, and then the timer doesn't work, so we have to hold the switch down.
Right. One of us is gonna have to stay behind. It's gonna be mean.
I can't see a way for this Glyph of Warding idea to work. Unfortunately, there's too many incompatibilities. So yeah, some other plot.
All right, so let's back to plan A.
We need some other trigger.
Right. So what I'm still thinking though is, one, we need more information if we can get it from the kobolds without them overly stressing and having heart attacks. But
Right.
if we could find out about the place, the lair, what's open to the skies, as any kind of window, ingress, egress kind of thing. Like we scouted out the twins' fortress, their lair. We scouted that out from the outside before we went in. So what I'm looking at is scouting the lair and seeing if there's any other way in than the front door.
Yeah, I'm saying that's probably going to be really hard.
It may be, but it
we
probably
have
be up to me.
We have an in the form of that teleport spell. Like,
yeah.
That guy, and I point to the kobold. He can teleport us in.
Yeah, I don't think that way in is any more than one way in, one way out. I don't think there's scouting through that portal happening.
Right.
No, because as soon as we show up, they'll be like, "Oh shit," and the war starts. Like right that moment.
And I don't think
there aren't like alarms and stuff that go off unless they've set some explicitly, right? Like we will.
They
pop
might have
into
set a
that
guard
place,
there. There
and if
might be
nobody-
others popping in and out all the time.
What I'm saying is, what's likely to happen isn't, a massive conflict. It's likely that there's going to be a couple of guards, or if we're super unlucky, a group just teleported in, and then it's mayhem in a room. Like
Kimmick nods and he says, "Circle is it is close to the lower level, and people come and go fairly regular by it.
If we looked like
it would be
you,
a matter of luck as to whether you've seen.
if we looked like you, do you think anyone would give us any notice?
It would be strange if we appeared without one of us.
What if one of us looked like one of the lords? I mean, Alice could pretend to be Morio, is what I was thinking.
Lord Morio has not been allowed off the ground since he returned.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I could pretend to be Damier, but
why don't we just use the polymorph spell?
Oh, that's what I'm thinking, to be clear.
Lord Damier never uses the lower portal.
I guess Vosh does that.
Gosh. He went missing. So I've been back.
How long ago?
A few weeks, I'd imagine.
Or longer.
Yes.
Don't you worry about him. He said he was going to go visit his mom.
We believed he must have been lost or killed even.
I wish. I really do. But no, he ran away to go see mommy.
Yep.
You know what?
He said that Mother Dearest deserves a visit.
I realized something. There might be a completely different.
Yeah.
I think it's time we try going more aggressively at build, sending, keep bothering, berating, harassing, trying to draw them out, trying to lure them all into angry, stupid, headlong exchange with us, where we can eliminate the captains of the force with ease, and then we're already meeting them halfway wherever, and easier to evacuate, get them all the way out of the volcano. After that, there was a lot less people to try to evacuate, and hopefully with some of the children dead, change a lot less threats. Higher order that we're gonna have to do our thing.
Okay, we just lost her.
Mhm.
Oh, no, you didn't.
No. From Roll20.
What?
There you
Oh,
are.
I see you.
Yeah.
I'm still here. Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, you just disappeared off my list and came back. I don't know.
Same here.
I was like minimized for a second. Am I gone now?
No, I see you.
No, you're there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Thanks, roleplaying.
Yeah, right. Yeah, could you run that by me again, Nimbus? Because it
Yeah.
sounded like we kill ourselves trying to kill them and then lose. Did I hear that right?
No,
I don't think so.
no, absolutely not. It's seeing magic to annoy and harass and antagonize, draw them out. Not the tougher ones, starting with like Moria.
See, got it.
and try
I thought
to-
you meant all at once, and I was like, "Are you mad?"
I mean, they might all come at us at once. I would say if we've got and then us probably a little wipe the key though is
No army. Yeah, if they got no army, I bet the princes combined we could fucking team on team them.
well, there would be army, but the goal would be that we killed them fast enough and offer the entire time, hey, stand down. We don't want to kill you guys. You guys are cool. We just want to kill them. Hopefully,
Just need
them will allow that to happen. I know they got a lot long shot, but hopefully we'd be able to maybe just get one or two. Screw it, whatever I've got to build up all of the rest of my forces I have to must attack them. They said they'll meet me midfield if we let them know. Fine.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
that it's a thought. It's a gamble.
Well, it's not the bad plan that I thought it was, so I apologize.
Oh yeah.
It's sketchy though, like still. In that, I mean, depending on what they throw at us, we may be in a bad situation. But I guess if it happens on a field, we'll have time to react. It's not any crazier than sneak into a dragon's lair and steal something.
It's, you know, there's a few stories, not just the ones that I've told on stage, but more serious ones, actual accounts where that was the way turning out. The captains or elder clans, they led their clan with an iron fist, and they all kind of sort of clan. There's no way you'd be able to draw the clan to get to it. It was a matter of drawing each one out individually through whatever means, through antagonizing them, trying to seduce their wives, daughters, that just anything that would draw them out their inability to control their to break off and try to get their justice one by one. Similar sort.
Yeah.
More of them, we get out of here. Potentially. I don't want. I guess there's the people for whom.
Right. So what if we had at our disposal an obelisk? We could, in theory, march an army north to the field of our choosing, very visibly and demonstrably set up an obelisk there and a forward camp with an army, and draw them out to it. Like, they would have to address it. They couldn't just let it stay there.
Right. Especially start to do reconnaissance. Get their attention.
Well, and in a perfect world, slowly draining away their resources because we don't let them leave. You know what I mean? Like if we strike them every time they come out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could very easily mean the same for us, though. We could overextend ourselves.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I was imagining it would still be a feint, right? That ultimately our goal would still be to destroy their obelisk equivalent.
Can you bring up the world map?
Yeah.
Or the region?
What if their obelisk equivalent is something innate or carried upon one of them?
They said it's an artifact and suspended by chains in the caldera in the volcano, so we know
The
it's none
map
of
is
those
loading
things.
now, by the way. Please hold.
Right. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. No rush on that map.
Roll20 agrees with you.
In fact, I am in my head imagining this thing as being far too big for us to actually steal. Like, we're probably going to have to destroy it.
And hopefully we can James Cameron it into the lava is what I think you're thinking.
Right. I mean, it's suspended by chains. I feel like
Right.
that's a set piece, right?
Right. I'm put in mind of another campaign I was in once where I thought, the perfect thing to do is to cast this terrible artifact into the void.
The void?
I'm going to leave that right there for you.
This was not the best idea.
See, Verde remembers that campaign. Anyway, I agree from here that to throw it into the lava is best. Table talk. I was once in this campaign where it seemed like it was a really good idea to throw this thing into the lava, and I did, and it wasn't the best. But it wasn't lava.
So what did it do after it was in the lava?
Well, it wasn't lava, and I could ask the dungeon master to tell me what happened.
Oh.
I actually don't remember.
You don't? Now you had this artifact that was apparently like something we were supposed to protect or whatever. It would be absolutely terrible if it was released into the multiverse or something like. And I was holding it. And I thought the best thing to do would be to deprive the enemy of it by throwing it into the multiverse.
Right.
You remember now?
I do.
Also, have you seen the most recent Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Yep.
Doctor Strange is like the most recent one. The strange character that shows up that Doctor Strange has to interact with, like the rando character, the interlocutor, the deuteragonist.
Yeah.
Yep.
America.
Yeah, it's Gray Paper Tom, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I was in the theater sitting next to Verde, and I was like, "Holy shit, it's Gray Paper Tom!" And he looked over and he was like, "Huh? Oh, oh!" And we like had a chuckle.
Yeah, I literally did the same thing. That's funny.
Do we
I had never read any comics she was in, so I had no idea.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, me, of course.
True things.
do we know whose lair it is that's up north? Is that Demers or Arcturus's?
That's the dragon's lair, right? That's where the volcano is.
Yeah,
Mick says it's
Okay, so it's likely
the volcano is
carved
all of
into
our
the
own.
mountains there.
We all live under the volcano. The king lives at the top. Lords live in their towers, and the rest of us live in the lower level.
Huh. Are there any ruins there?
One of the salamanders once told me before the king came to be in this place, he took a city that was once here, and where we live were the great halls of the city.
Whoa, what happened to it?
Sounds dwarvish.
Sounds like it
I
became a volcano.
suppose if what you say is true and the redshift is not all exist, then the people there must have died when the redshift.
Yeah. Thank you. I was curious if it was Vrabas like we thought, and it sounds like it once was.
Wait. Vrabast is. Oh, never mind. I was thinking of Raygend.
Oh,
I want to
that's
ask
the upside down city or whatever.
Marissa a question.
She's available.
Marissa, what can you tell me about Braybass? There's a volcano layer there. Was it a volcano before? Did it have like access to magma and stuff like that? Tell me about it. What did they do? What were they all about there?
She says, "Well, it wasn't a volcano when I was alive. Must have erupted at some point after the redshift started. Yeah, it must have, because it wasn't. It was a city up in the mountains. They did a lot of they had a lot of science. It was kind of a northern trade route between Vess and the western half. It was sort of it served a similar role to Chose as it being in the valley between the mountain ranges, but not as well traveled because it's kind of out on its own. What that kobold says is correct, and they've got tunnels in the mountains. It does sound like that was probably there. I know a lot of the city was built into sections of the mountain. The mountain was dug out and lived in by a lot of people in certain places. Well, the mountains, really. There were you had the main city proper, sort of in a very like a basin, I suppose you could say, and bits of it were carved into the carved into the walls of that basin here and there in the various mountains that made up that part of the range.
Volcano. So definitely layer that they
I just wonder if in that circumstance, did the volcano erupt, which created a situation that was attractive to dragons, or did the dragons help it along?
with the volcano that erupted in the southern purge session. Probier get the feel.
Yeah. It makes me I've had this weird nagging thought for a long time, a while, since we found the collector's house and looked through that telescope, that maybe the dragons are related or associated with the Redshift. The fact that the Hard Elf seemed to be able to invoke or bend the Redshift to his will was scary to me, still is, because it's very close to this idea that I've had for a while. That seems crazy. But it's, if there's a relationship between the Redshift and the dragons, it would explain some things, but it would also, I think, maybe turn some other things kind of on their head. I mean, what we saw through the telescope didn't look like a dragon. It looked like an extraplanar thing, maybe.
That's all them.
I've always assumed that the dragon came after the Redshift began. And if what Pinnock says, I think most of his servants certainly came after. So I'm actually curious what's your theory on how they might be would be.
Well, like I said, nebulous, but
The way I understand
I'm guessing that the timing is wrong. That, it's like, it would mean that the dragons would have had to be here 2,000 years ago. And as far as we know, they were not.
Well, no, I thought it was that the redshift started occurring, and then the big dragon moved in. That these were events that been years, potentially years apart.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the way that we've understood it. And yet I keep having this nagging thought that perhaps they are more directly linked than we know, than we ever knew or assumed. But that would mean that the time record is not what we know either. So I don't know. I don't know that it's anything other than a fancy thought. And I don't mean to make dragons more powerful than they already are. It does make me wonder if there's some kind of direct, nebulous, maybe even tenuous connection between the Redshift and the dragon. And then I look at it and go, well, no, there can't be, because the dragons can't live in the Redshift. They have to have an artifact like we do. So well, I think I just keep being proved wrong in that kind of thinking, and yet it kind of doesn't go away.
And if you look at where Vavast is compared to Royal Vess and the Star Tower, there's still 100 more miles. That's like more than a day's worth of travel. I don't think that they have anything to do with the secretary. I think this is just a fucking hurdle.
Yeah, they're just in the way.
Unless the dragon is the secretary.
That's an interesting thought.
Somehow.
I feel like the tower's probably the secretary.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that.
tower's red too, isn't it?
Oh, it's
Well,
white,
it's white.
but it's right.
No, at the base of the tower.
Oh yeah, right.
When we saw it through the telescope, it was red.
Oh, it's still white. You have that picture available.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
I'm looking
about
at
to-
it right now. In fact, yeah, it's white.
Okay.
Yeah, the tower is white, but the tentacles are red, aren't they? I'm not looking at it. Give me a
Nope.
second.
Tentacles are white.
Tentacles are white. Oh, yeah. Nope. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
What's that
Bladed
red
red.
arc that I'm seeing coming off the, like, see that red glow? Is that just the sun reflecting off of it, or?
Lens flare, right?
That is in fact lens flare. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
It's a sundog.
Well, you saw this through a telescope, so
Yeah.
a dirty,
Yeah.
cracked telescope.
Hmm. We still never set
Yeah.
up an obelisk at Foggy Hill, did we?
Nope.
Not yet. That was in the cards till you rescue Eska. Had to send Dex over there on very short notice. We'll have to start working on another obelisk as soon as he's done over there and we have all Saints fortified.
So let's talk about that. What is it going to take to actually fortify All Saints and either get a much bigger obelisk or get multiple obelisks? Because Eska is actually slightly outside of town.
Dex says, well, it seems like she's able to seems like the her ability to link with the obelisk has helped us out quite a bit here. It's protecting her completely, and a good chunk of the city that we do, um, or more than just a little city block, I'd say. Um, but Brigadier cuts in and she says, in terms of defense, uh, what we can fortify at All Saints does depend a little bit on the question: are we going to have 100 kobolds to help us, or are we going? Next? Do we leave Chose undefended and try to
Yeah, those are the big questions.
bait them over there?
I think my opinion, which is absolutely apropos of just me and my little group and my little job, is that we move operations from Chose to All Saints because of the proximity of our secret agent. In case we're being scryed on.
The issue that I worry about is that really leaves us exposed to having,
That
Right.
absolutely does.
and all the work we've put in it shows it could just be burnt out and obliterated.
Yep, it almost was too.
I can't leave just back. Not at a point like Dragon were to take control of Shoze completely. Couldn't even get back through over the mountain range very easily at all. We had a lot of people at All Saints.
Yeah, if we're relocating the bulk of our forces to All Saints, you would almost want to dismantle the obelisk at Chose and take it with you.
Well, you certainly want to be able to reuse as many materials as possible.
No. I don't even mean to reuse it. I mean, anytime you need Chose again, you redeploy it.
Yep. No, I agree.
And that would mean without the stopping point at Chose, you'd have to go from one of the other locations all the way to All Saints.
Yeah,
impossible.
doubles the supply line's effective length.
Well, anything that we create further from here is now a potential target.
We can't do it while we're in this.
We need.
Okay.
We have this tug of war with the dragons. We can't leave Chose. We can't rely on All Saints.
Yeah, we need to resolve this now.
I think we do. Otherwise, there's so many variables, so many risks that'll come.
Do we have?
Well, I can reach out. It'll take time for letter to get back. I mean, weeks, and then time to mobilize. But in terms of supplies here, places to house them, I imagine we could have maybe a century might be able to fit into Chose here. Maybe significantly less in the smaller forts.
Well, there's plenty of room in Chose, right? I mean, it's a whole city.
Well, I mean, look around you. We have what, 4 blocks that the obelisk covers. There's
Right.
hundreds of feet of city that are out there in the Redshift. We can't use them. I wouldn't even be super comfortable. Frankly, I'm not even comfortable sand skiff out there. Out in the Redshift. But we don't really have a choice with that. I can't expect you to lug it all the way into the city every time you come.
I have admittedly been taking odds with myself about how long it's going to take to turn into a monster.
As long as it doesn't become sentient.
Right.
I've had a bad encounter with a wagon. So yeah, we definitely support much more than that. That would make it pretty crowded here. Cool. But it would help. But it would certainly help with the defense. We have a much better shot at dealing with situations like yesterday without your help if you were somewhere else.
Here's a thought. Why not you and me? Don't know who else. Probably just you and me to keep teleportation circle back in the academy. We can go there. We can muster up whatever forces, grab 8 toughest people of that crew, bring them back up on the hill with us, charge back down from there when the redshift clears, and we'll have already delivered the reinforcement, ready to start coming, as well as whatever magic gather up. Definitely, a lot of them.
I have a few friends, but I'm not sure I'd be able to collect all of them in a day or two, bring them back here. Oh, you want just a few people?
Well, yeah, for now we can just get many as 8 to come back with us. Let's remind me again. It's 10 for teleportation.
Oh yeah, that is right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be us, toughest, most stalwart fighters, whatever deployment rest are able to. Or
Well, it's like I said, it's not like they're all hanging out at home waiting for somebody to call on them, but we might be able to find we're in the area, get back or out um very least.
alternatively, if you want a little bit more time, we can just patience.
I've
Oh, I don't know. I guess if the kobolds want it.
that's true enough. A few of them anyway. Yeah, we only do at this point. But well, no, we need help to get the rest of them.
I guess whomever doesn't have any of these.
In any case, I can't very well leave the commission in a delicate situation like this for 2, 3, 4 weeks. No, I won't. I could maybe make it.
Not
Maybe make
weeks.
it a trip of a couple days, but
Yeah. Oh no, it wouldn't be weeks. It would be a teleportation to get you there, and then that's why I would.
yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Still, we'd have to hope that there are people in the city waiting for us, willing to join, ready to go. I suppose.
I think this is the sort of thing where the king would spare a few of his finest. Queen, Chris, can't. You know, I'm not from around here. I don't remember exactly royalty. It's
that's all right. It's not exactly blasphemy. Well, yes, that's me generally. But let's see.
you don't have to just.
Are you muttering to yourself?
You don't just have to
you.
restrict it to fighters either. If Dex has any recommendations for of magic of high regard that are looking to bolster their reputation. Bit of an out.
Well,
Most welcome.
we have a couple of days to think about this, so let me rack my brain. Whoever I might be able to find, I can make a short list. Maybe happen. Um, let's say for now, perhaps we're able to get a few and show say better, and then that would give you the opportunity to move. Correct.
Yeah, it would be either that or it would give us the ability to stay put while they go all sane. So I would admit bringing people out here and then having them kind of go on their a little daunting, probably.
Not optimal.
Yeah, let them get a little experience and understanding of the area before staying out. But yeah,
Right. Obviously. Anybody new we zone proper, not immediate. Okay, so we have these additional fortifications. What then is the plan? What are you all going to do? Oh, if we even if we were to bolster Jose and Alsane's a little bit, we still have the issue that we don't yet have a quick route between cities. It would be trivial to cut us off in the middle like that. More so than any of our others. It's even harder to go around somewhere too. Uh, Obviously, defending Jose is the priority. We have to make sure to keep Alsane safe.
wood and metal might be a little bit hard to get to Alsane, but to be honest, all we need is a little bit of seeds and a little bit of magic, and I'm sure we'd be able to quickly grow a garden that resident of the area. If
I think
Too
that
bad, too bad there's no way to like magnify my magic, so you couldn't like put out a simple dish, of everything that somebody would need to eat, and I could, magnify it into 100 dishes.
yeah, I mean, you could do it for a few people pretty easily. That would be the
Right, but
big.
yeah, but then I'd have to rest. Like I would need a conduit of pure energy or something, so I could like maybe an amplifier for my flute. Huh? I'm gonna think about that.
well, see, the problem, I don't know if the kobolds would actually be allowed to leave. Imagine all the others.
Oh no, we all have to break them out.
Nick says half of them believe might be willing to run to safety, guaranteed safety. The king's protection failing is, but if it did happen, have to go somewhere. Run.
it's pretty unthinkable already that the princes might lose a fight. So,
Yeah.
depending on what information about that trickled down into the lower levels, the kobolds there might know already that the unthinkable of one kind of thing has already happened.
Right, already has occurred. I was going to say, yeah, it's not unthinkable anymore.
Right. Which means that there's some strength to this could collapse and we need to go.
Wherever we would supply care of everyone.
Brigadier says if you're sending them to Alsane, send out a group across the desert, get a delivery.
Be a good idea.
Well, and if Sharp and Angela's team is on hand to help get them across the desert from, Braybass to All Saints, that they'll have a much better chance.
The only problem is what if the dragon follows them? How are you going to stop that from happening?
Well, the idea is that if we cause enough of a ruckus, they won't leave because they're too busy defending their own home.
I thought the idea of the ruckus was kobolds breaking out and dragon going to look.
Well, that was kind of my thought, but Nimbus brings up a good point. If we destroy the artifact and somehow don't die in that attempt, all we have to do is make it general knowledge that that artifact is destroyed, and everybody panics and leaves, right? I mean, maybe not the dragon, but that's a different problem.
Right? Yeah, I agree.
So there may be some merit in doing it in reverse order, is all I'm saying. My thought, though, was exactly that. You incite an exodus. The exodus distracts at a bare minimum, the dragon's children, if not the dragon, reducing the number of complications we have to get to the artifact and destroy it. Alternately, we make something capable of destroying the artifact. Somebody delivers it invisibly, and the artifact is destroyed while we're not even in the volcano at all.
Yeah. That's actually what I was thinking. And then
That would be optimal, but,
at the same time, I thought, though, like, could we do something that about, could we insert someone, like, if they're going to go be inserted invisibly, what else could they do while they're there? What knowledge could they insert to the, like?
Well, I'm not, and I point to the ferry. I'm not sending someone of that stature in there alone for long.
Fair enough.
I wonder if it would be easier for you to use some metal-eating metal or those corrosive monsters created.
Or gelatinous cube all over it.
Yeah, sometimes mercury or this little gallium used for tricks sometimes. Also,
Right.
corrode them.
I've seen mercury eat antimony. I know what I know what you mean. Yeah.
The Brigadier says that reminds me, actually. Don't we have a bomb?
Huh?
I thought we did, or at least plans for one.
You know, the one made out of the giant salamander material.
Sounds familiar.
Right.
There's a keg in the storeroom.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had forgotten about that.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
That-
another option is somebody could get very, very high over the caldera.
I could get really high like right now.
That's any of us.
And feather fall down, and deliver the
I don't know
explosive.
if I have Featherfall. I don't think I have Featherfall.
I have feathers.
I
I can fly.
well, yeah, actually, you could shapeshift and fly. I can dimension door as a domain. Like if I could see where I needed to be, I could zoom there. But I can't Featherfall.
But I mean, if we could legitimately repurpose that material, that would be a surefire way to destroy the artifact. I was thinking, since it's a volcano and there's a caldera, if any lava is exposed, we could simply feed it to the volcano. Like, it's supposedly suspended by chains, so
And blow up the chains.
right, or otherwise remove their anchors from the wall. But yeah, exactly. If we're going from the bottom up, it's probably easiest somehow sabotage the chains. If we're coming from the top down, it might be easier to do a single point strike on the artifact itself instead. Certainly be faster with fewer complications. That said, that's a highly technical approach that I'm not sure we have the resources to pull off.
Come in, deliver the bomb, drop the bomb, leave.
Right. The
Maybe.
trick is deliver the bomb without getting seen and eaten by a dragon,
Yeah, that is the tough part.
You have to get outside first. Then the distraction. What about sound? What if you made some kind of loud noise with that explosion? I mean, I assume the explosion will be pretty loud. I haven't tested it.
They usually are, though. That's fair.
A boom
Yeah, like-
from the caldera would.
Has had I look over at all the various wizards. Has anybody here ever forced a volcano to explode?
I heard about it. This weird this weird wizard hawking this weird spell book. I think his name was Follow. None of his stuff was legit. I looked on the second page. Yeah, no. Whatever. No, I haven't tried it myself personally.
So, get in. Bomb. Mortier's team. Side to escape. Your way to the caldera. Pause in a get out. Dragon is going to go and get people away from it, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, if we see that it's making for All Saints, I suppose us aces basically chase its tail the whole way there, so we're right on its ass when it gets there.
It seems correct to me.
Right.
Pretty sure it's gonna.
Oh, no question. But I mean, it better us showing up at all than not, right?
Yeah.
If we see him going for Jose, then I think we teleport to the mansion, and then we haul ass to Jose because we might actually get there right at the same time. You know.
Right. I suppose it also depends on how much time before the Redshift is going to come through. Get there and exit.
Well, if you're taking a teleport circle, it should be before the redshift is gone, or just as it prays, or would it be better to wait till? Well, from what Kimmick here has told us, it sounds like most princes have been grounded.
Yeah, I don't think the place is going to be any less empty when we wait. I mean, the best thing about waiting would be that the Redshift puts pressure on them,
Right.
which does have some value, maybe.
But no, that wouldn't work because then the evacuation would surely fail. Everyone.
Damn, right. That's off the table then.
Yeah, you'd have to do this. You'd have to do this on the dot as shift clear. You'd have to take full advantage of whatever time the redshift will afford us to make this happen. Okay. Okay. Yes, I approve of your insane mission.
Excellent.
I want that dragon run out of this zone. I want him to know that he is not any more welcome here than us, and I want the redshift to reject him. And his kids.
Aye.
If we have to kill a dragon to clear the way, then there's not going to be anything we can do to avoid that. We're going to have to do it sooner or later. And so before that wizard can rebuild whatever army he's got, while they're still reeling, if it's like he said and Papa is getting angry, then while he's angry, best time to hit him. Or angry. Irrational. Make mistakes. Make
Also,
bad
I'm
choices.
possibly a little scared and worried.
Yeah, that's right. Now then. Nimbus, if you have the ability to get us to Fauntleroy and back before the redshift wanes, give me a day to make a list. We could take a walk through the city, knock on a few doors. We might be able to get a couple people to come back with us. Maybe, if we're very lucky. They can hold on to Jose while you're gone.
Oh, out of character. How far into the redshift?
It is approaching.
Oh, it hasn't yet.
Right.
It's only been a day since it started, so yeah, it has not reached Jose yet.
Oh, okay. Is there anything preventing us from getting a teleportation while they're going?
Wait, what?
No, there's nothing stopping you from.
Yeah, that would probably be the most optimal.
It's certainly expedient.
While you can muster up forces, get a pass from deck that'd be able to, or I guess, so I can. Whatever other spells they have of it.
Let's at least wait till the Redshift cover shows up. I don't like alone with the chance of if they came back tomorrow, I want it prepared.
Oh, certainly. Yeah,
That'll still give us a few days to get back here anyway.
Yeah, until the Redshift arrives. I can still use it. Get a stretch and roll. That was a big.
Okay then. Everybody else, then get yourselves ready for your plan, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to talk to somebody about something less clanky.
Haha. I'm sure Smithy will be able to help you out.
I just need to figure out what very I need to hone my spell so I'm not carrying around any like utility shit that is just utility that we're not going to use.
Okay.
Same.
I will end the session.
Sounds good. We got a couple of weeks to plan then.
3 or 4 weeks. Yes, we will do the big event. So we'll most likely get right to it at session start next time. Next session will hopefully be on the 31st, but maybe the 7th, depending on how things go.
Gather around.
So,
Right.
thank you all for playing.
Thanks for the session, sir.
Thanks for having us.
For hosting.
All right.
Thanks for
Safe
playing, everyone.
travels. Be safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back before too long, and then we'll be back to normal schedule.
Sounds good.
All right.
Ooh,
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Love you.
everybody.